Good morning from the Utah Valley University Office for Global Engagement. I am your host, Baldomero Lago, and I welcome you to our first Global Dialogue. During this session, feel free to add questions or comments to the chat in Facebook. If time permits, I will address a select few. Today, our distinguished guest is Honorable David UTRILLA. Mr. UTRILLA, we're honored to have you join us in this virtual setting. You are and have been such an accomplished citizen who has served and continue to make a difference in our community. You are the president and CEO of U.S. Translation. You serve in multiple academic boards, both at Weber State University, the University of Utah, and Utah Valley University. You currently serve as the chairman of Utah's Council for Citizens Diplomacy, board directors for the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition, and Utah Symphony and Opera. You have also been the past president of the World Trade Association of Utah, and the list goes on and on. That is remarkable. Today, I have invited you to represent the Utah Consular Corps and your country of Peru. Mr. UTRILLA, can you explain to our audience what is the Consular Corps and how it benefits our community?
Well, first, thank you, Baldomero, for this invitation. It's a true honor for me to participate of this series of webinars and discussions that you are holding every week. And of course, it's very great. I'm very grateful to collaborate with Utah Valley University, who is a university that I truly admire for all of the work that you guys are doing to promote education in our state of Utah. The Utah Consular Corps is an organization that was founded in 2001, and it has career and honorary consuls as part of its members. Currently, we have 26 consuls, and all of them were appointed by the head of the country that they represent, and then are also accredited by the U.S. Department of State. So they represent their countries in an official capacity here in the state of Utah. What we do as an honorary consuls and also as a consular corps is that we promote relations between the countries that we represent and the state of Utah. And this promotion goes in different levels, goes from education, business, cooperation, exchange of scientific exchange, many other ways that can help to strengthen the relationship between the country that we represent and as well as the state of Utah. Our mission is to foster diplomacy and strong cooperative relations between Utah and the rest of the world.
That's terrific. Thank you, Mr. UTRILLA. For the past 11 years, you have served the community of Peru in Utah as the honorary consul. What would you give us an idea of the work you do in that capacity, and perhaps maybe some bilateral relations between the state and the government of Peru?
Yes, as you have said, I was appointed as the honorary consul of Peru 11 years ago. Peru has a very large community here in Utah. It's the second largest immigrant community after Mexico. And we have about 45,000 Peruvians living here in the state. This honorary consulate that we have is very unique in the sense that Peru has a person that works under my leadership on a full-time basis, and this person is paid by the Peruvian government, and does all of the paperwork for the Peruvian citizens here, from doing their identifications through any legal documents that they may need, registration of children that were born from Peruvian parents in the state of Utah, so they can become also, or they can be Peruvians as well. So we do everything here, really. The only thing that we don't do for the Peruvian citizens here are the new passports. We do submit those to the consulate in Denver, who we report to. But the relationships have been very strong. I would say that the relations are at different levels. Let me start by talking about the educational levels. All of the universities here in the state of Utah have an agreement with at least one other university in Peru. And this is an agreement where they can do like exchange students, or they can do also exchange faculty, and they can collaborate on research also. Then we also have the relationship with the Utah educational system for elementary school and for secondary school, to bring Spanish teachers from Peru to come to teach here at the dual immersion programs that we have in the state. And I have been told that some of the best teachers that we have for Spanish are those that are coming from Peru. They are super happy actually to be here in the state. They are learning so much, and the hope is that when they return to Peru, so they can become better teachers for the Peruvian students as well. And then we have cooperation agreements also with some of the NGOs here in the state of Utah. Some of them actually have even offices there in Peru, like Eagle Condor or Choice Humanitarian or Mentors International. They collaborate to help people to come up out of poverty by providing sustaining programs of self-reliance is what they promote. And they have been very successful for many years. We also have ties at the government level, from regional to cities, and we have sister cities also in place. We have one between the city of Salt Lake City and Salt Lake City as well, where they cooperate and collaborate on how to grow cities and how to do it in the most sustainable way. Same thing with the region of Piura and the state of Utah too. These relations have been very good, especially for the country of Peru. And of course, we collaborate in the business sector, especially on the mining side. There are companies that are here from Utah that are operating in Peru, and for the extraction of gold and copper and silver. And that has been a very strong and rewarding mutual relationship for the two places. And the list goes on. A lot of the produce that we eat, if you go to the supermarket, just look at the label. A lot of this food that you are eating, like avocados or organic bananas, or mangoes or grapes, they are all coming from Peru. So it's very good to see this collaboration that goes at so many different levels, and that benefit both the state of Utah and of course the country of Peru.
Fantastic, thank you. A lot of individuals here within the community are unaware that 45,000 residents are coming from Peru. So it's a vast delegation, it's a vast community. Mr. UTRILLA, currently we are experiencing a worldwide pandemic. And how are the people of Peru handling this devastating situation?
Peru has been impacted very bad in many ways. Let's talk first about the health impact in Peru. Peru has one of the largest per capita numbers of people with COVID-19, but also one of the highest per capita of people that have died of this from this virus. Many of the hospitals in Peru have collapsed. We were not prepared for sure for a pandemic of this magnitude, and it has been impacted many people there. Now, in the last, I would say, few days specifically, things are becoming better. They are. We still have, of course, the pandemic is very active in Peru, but is starting to give us a little bit of hope of that the numbers are reducing, both in terms of people getting this virus and people dying from this virus. Peru is taking different measures to increase their medical capacity, especially with numbers of beds, a number of respirators, as well as doing more tests to people. But we still have long ways to go, and that's super unfortunate. The second part is the economic impact that has created in the country. It has been devastating. Peru is one country that highly depends on tourism, and the airports have been closed for more than 7 months now for international flying. They just recently opened to some few countries, to 7 specifically, but the consequences of economic consequences are great. The United Nations are saying that Peru is going to be one of the countries in the world that will recover slowest to recover. They are anticipating they will take about 10 years for them to get to the levels of economic prosperity that they were before, and that is very sad too. Obviously, Peruvians are very resilient. They're hard workers. They collaborate, and I'm sure that we will come up to out of this pandemic like in many other countries as well. There is hope, and there is also work from the government in trying to fight this disease in the most efficient possible way.
Wonderful, thank you. It's devastating, this pandemic situation all over the world, and I'm sorry to hear about the current situation in Peru. But Peru is a great nation. And back in 2015, its nation agreed to support the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda. How is your country doing in this regard when it comes to sustaining and promoting the 2030 agenda for the United Nations?
Yes, as you know, governments play a key role in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And Peru is one of those that have set goals, of course, setting and implementing policy frameworks to help the country to become better. Peru has prepared what is called the Peru 2030 plan. It's National Strategic Development Plan for 2030, based on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, to monitor and follow up its implementation process. The country has created a system for monitoring the indicators of SDG objectives to transform our country. Peru considers developing sector statistic data and technical reports in compliance with SDG in all state levels. Some of the policies include a specific strategy to tackle poverty, especially in suburban areas, and specific programs to address anemia in its national goals on nutrition. The new national curriculum for basic education now includes competencies and capacities related to comprehensive sexual education. Peru also published a first national estimates of unpaid domestic work, presenting the unpaid domestic work satellite account. Some of the goals, as you know, there are 17 goals that are in the SDG. And Peru is focusing specifically in 4 of them. It's focusing on the number 1 about no poverty, goal number 2 on zero hunger, goal number 3 on good health and well-being, and goal number 7 on affordable and clean energy. So it is in the health sector. Official statistics show that in 2015, that 43.5% of children under 3 years of age suffer from anemia. So there is ways to go, but we have these very specific goals for 2030, and we feel very hopeful that we are going to achieve them.
Excellent, thank you. In your opinion, what is the perspective from Peru, with your Peruvian lenses? What is your perspective on the upcoming U.S. general election?
Yes, Peru has a very good relations in many ways with the United States, and it has been for many years actually. In fact, when with the trade. When the PPP passed, you know, where there was this trade relation with Peru is considered the template or the one that the United States liked the most as far as trade relations with. It was passed with President Bush, and of course it has been seen very well when President Obama was in the office, and now with President Trump. In fact, when President Trump became the president, the first president that he invited from a Latin American country was the president of Peru. It was his first meeting, and that's remarkable because especially when you have as a neighbor Mexico. He likes that trade agreement with Peru, and like I say, I don't see a change coming up if they were to be changing administration, like if for some reasons Biden becomes a president. I think that relations will continue. They're very healthy in a sense that what Peru is able to provide to the United States and the United States to Peru is not a relationship where we are getting everything from the United States and United States is now benefiting at all from the relation. It's a mutual beneficial relationship, and I think this is a sustainable one, and I think it's going to become even better with the time.
Excellent. At this point, I would like to perhaps ask you a couple of questions that has been fed to us through the chat Facebook. And one of the questions that I see is, do Peruvians in Utah feel any sense of discrimination?
I would say that our office have received reports and complaints of discrimination in the past. There is not that much, very little, but some of those are specifically related with labor, meaning that they are not being paid sometimes the minimum wage, meaning that they get paid for a day, and a day sometimes is more than 8 hours, and they don't get paid for overtime. Sometimes they are let go for incorrect reasons, and some of these reports that we have received, we pass this to the State Labor Commission for them to take action on it. As a consulate, we don't have legal jurisdiction here in the United States or in the state of Utah. The only thing we can do is report those, and then so the proper authorities can take action. The other part that we have here, reports of discrimination have been, I don't know if you know this, but more than almost 100% of all of the cheap caregiving shepherds, is that what they call? They are from Peru, and some of the times they are sent to places on hospitals, places where there is no water, there is no food, in the middle of nowhere, and they are not in the best humane conditions to do their work. So some of those have come to us as well, and we have reported to as well to the Utah Labor Commission and also to the Office of the Attorney General as well. Fortunately, those cases are more the exception than the rule. Utah has been a great state to embrace the Peruvian community, and we have a lot of words of gratitude to the government and of course to the people of Utah.
Great. Another question also coming from the chat in regards to the Utah Consular Corps. You indicated they are honorary consuls as well as career consuls that make up this wonderful organization. If anyone wants to know a little bit more about the Utah Consular Corps, are there any resources? I mean, how many consulates, for example, are in the state of Utah, and what kind of participation or involvement can have simply the citizens in the state of Utah can be connected somehow to the Consular Corps? And are there other consular corps in other states?
Yes, first of all, I invite everybody to visit our website. Is utahconsuls.org. That will give you information on what is that we do, what countries are represented here in the state of Utah, and contact information from each of these consuls, and more information also about the countries that they represent, including opportunities for business or for education exchange or for anything that you may be interested in doing with those countries. I think that would be my invitation for you for the people to go there until they can find out more. We also have an email for the Consular Corp. If you want to email us, it's utahconsuls@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us. We have an intern. We are a nonprofit organization, and we work with interns, and we have an intern that is always is always responding to inquiries. And so if you have questions, any type of questions, you can email us as well.
You know, Amy's asking in the chat room, are there any limits for how long an honorary consul can serve?
Yes. So first, let me tell you about many people ask the question also, what is the difference between a career consul and an honorary consul? A career consul is a person that went through a diplomatic school and goes through the career of a diplomat, and then the person gets to be sent to different countries after so many years, and this person, of course, gets compensated for their work. The honorary consul, it doesn't get paid. Most of us have not gone through diplomatic school. We are professionals, but our professions go from some are educators, some are business people, some are lawyers, architects, and the list goes on and on. So they have very different professions. However, they are people with a high degree of professionalism. The country has vetted them. The Department of State have vetted them too, and they and they go through a long process that it can take, in some cases, 2 or 3 years. These honorary consuls to from the moment that they get identified to the moment that they become accredited. It is a long process to take this long. We are looking actually at increasing our number of honorary consuls that represent countries. So if you are a professional that wants to represent a country that you are very familiar with and you are well connected with, I invite you to go to our website or the email and contact us so we can help you perhaps or tell you how you can become an honorary consul. I don't know if that answered your question, Baldomero. I think I went and I answered something different.
No, I think that you provided the emails and the website, the utahconsuls.org, and I think that's very positive for individuals to become more familiar with the organization. Consul UTRILLA, returning back to Peru, to your country of origin, is a beautiful country. So if US citizens actually would like to travel during the holidays right now or in springtime, is that access, is that a possibility for US citizens to visit Peru as we speak?
Not at this right moment. My understanding is that starting November 15 is when those trips are going to start happening. There have been trips, humanitarian trips, to bring back Americans that were threatened there in Peru, and vice versa. But my understanding is until November 15, we are going to have again commercial flights, so people can be able to go and do tourism or other activities as they may want to. There is some restrictions, however. They will be asking people to take a test before 72 hours before they go to the airport, and they have to show the proof that the test was negative. They will be taking temperature also controls as they arrive to Peru, and of course, if they have fever or they do a test to them and they are proven to have COVID, they are going to be put in quarantine for 14 days. So those are some of the limitations and restrictions as far as going to Peru, but yeah, it's going to open soon, the country.
And this perhaps is the last question that I'm going to ask you today. And we love Peru. It's a great nation, great food, great culture. How can we taste the culture of Peru here in Utah?
That's a very good question. Because of the large community that we have, many people have their own businesses, and some of those businesses are restaurants. So I will suggest you to just go to Google and then just put Peruvian restaurant in Utah, and that will give you a list of all of the restaurants that are here in Utah. I would like to say that I have a favorite, but I think some of my country people or my country nationals will not be very happy that I put one over another. But I can tell you, however, that I've been to not to all of them, but to most of them, and all of them are very good. So you cannot go wrong with Peruvian food for sure.
That is fantastic. Well, Mr. UTRILLA, thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone for helping make this a successful event. To all of you, please join us for our next Global Dialogue, Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, as we welcome next Tuesday, Mr. Felipe Capo, the Communications Officer at the Department of Global Communications at the United Nations. As we sign off, choose to be a global citizen. Thank you, and we will see you next Tuesday. Good day.